Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About It Tuesday. I am Dr. Suzette Robinson. I am your trichologist, educator, certifier, and I'm here to service all your trichology needs. And once again, welcome to Let's Talk About It. Here we have an outstanding platform, and they would love, I know, to introduce themselves. Go for it, guys.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to Let's Talk About It Tuesday. I am Dr. Pamela Hill, located in Fredericksburg, Virginia, your board certified trichologist and drugless practitioner, certifier, educator. Welcome to tonight's call.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dr. Rashawn Broadnex here in the Washington, D.C. area. Welcome to this evening's show.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Marguerite here in your Fredericksburg, Virginia area. I am your board certified trichologist. Welcome.
Okay. Okay. We're here today with one of our topics from last week. We noticed a lot of people were inquiring, had some questions. Our topic was basically talking about opinion versus criticism. Or I'm going to say it another way, criticism versus opinion. And we had a couple of people that wanted to ask some questions on how to handle um, criticism, how to handle opinions, and how to deal with it on a positive level. So Marguerite brought this topic to us, and she did a great job last week facilitating it. And we're just going to let her take it away again. Okay? Please
Okay.
feel free to put in the chat your questions or anything concerning what we're talking about. Marguerite.
Okay. Let's jump on into it, you guys.
Okay.
Um, like Dr. Sue said, we had a couple of questions and asking the question how to handle good and bad criticism. And so um, I looked at it as both should be handled with a good intentions, regardless of the type of criticism you receive. It's a form of motivation. So I'm looking at the fact that whether it's good or bad criticism, we have to be open and honest about our listening. For
Okay.
one, we have to listen first so we can be able to jump into it instead of just jumping straight into it without listening and taking a pause if we have to think about the answer that we might come up with. So and that's just a little basics of um, the question that we had in hand. Anybody have anything else to say about that?
Well, I would like to, I'm the type of person, now I am, I always have to say, I used to,
Okay.
because before I
Okay.
would give my opinion if you wanted it or not. It would be straightforward and it would be so direct to what people thought I was criticizing. So as I've gotten older and mature more, you have to ask if that person really wants your opinion, because you might not be the perfect person to actually give that opinion. Um, so that's one thing. But then I feel also if you give an opinion, you also have to be able to be a great listener, because
Mhm.
you have to get all the facts before you can just actually, a lot of times people say something before you get the whole story. And, that can discourage a person for wanting any type of help or opinions on anything. So I think you definitely got to think before you speak. Make sure that you have the facts. Make sure that that person actually wants the opinion. And then again, like you say, you do have to be upfront and straight um, when you giving advice or opinion to sometimes because that opinion can make that person feel that you being critical,
Yeah.
so you just got to make sure you got the whole story before you
Mm,
start just going in and be like, oh, well, I think you should do such and such. Or if I was you, I didn't, because a lot of times that'll discourage somebody from wanting to do, what they thought they might have wanted to do. So we just need to get the facts all 100%. And then, maybe. And then again, you might not be the best person because the delivery means everything. Sometimes people just don't know how to be able to sugarcoat certain things. I've learned how because I was very direct when I was younger. It was just like, okay, you hurt your feelings, girl. You need to get a backbone, you know. And a lot of times you can't do that now. The times that we live in now, some things you have to water down completely before you give in a direct opinion. So that's another thing too. If that person is actually capable, what is their mindset? What you being, giving an opinion. So it's a lot to think of, when you're trying to give somebody your opinion on things, on how they should do something.
Mm-hmm.
You said something though that I thought was key, and one of our listeners was talking about it last week, and I'm glad you brought that up. The key is listening.
Mm-hmm.
Before you even try to give an opinion or criticism, something you said, Pam, that's good. We should be great listeners because something, I've been guilty of saying things before people have completed what they said, what they're trying to say. And I overshadow them or I have overshadowed them with what I
Mm-hmm.
think they should do, opposed to really listening and hearing the whole situation. And I think that's key too, because when you don't hear the whole thing, what you're saying can tear the whole situation
Oh,
up.
yes.
Yeah. So you're right, and I think one of the questions, Marguerite, you all, that I think was asked too was how do you handle it? So if someone comes to you and they say something like, "Well, this is what I do if I were you," or so and so and so and so, and it's nothing like what you're really trying to convey to them. Do you sit there and you kind of listen to them? Do you come back to them and tell them exactly how you feel? What exactly? This question was asked. How do you handle that?
Well, you know what? If I can jump in, let me just go back before we answer that question. I think one of the things that was said that's so important definitely is the listening, but also asking whether or not the person is looking for input or are they just venting.
Right.
That is one of the
It's
things
a
that has come
difference.
up to me more recently, where I realized that a lot of times in my conversations with my friends, I think we're just having a banter, just exchanging an idea. They come and they say, well, this is what happened, and blah blah blah. And I say, oh, well, and I give my opinion, but then I never really stopped to ask, did they want my opinion?
Mhm.
So I've been caught up in the situation where they were just really looking for a ear or looking to vent something out versus really looking for any type of answer. So having that, in the beginning can also kind of steer the conversation, so when people bring things to you, you can always ask, okay, just so that now this is what one of my neighbors recently told me. He said, I asked people just so that I can show up for you the way you need me to. Are you asking for my opinion or are you just venting to me?
Mm,
And that gives the person the opportunity to think, am I just telling this person just to say it? Am I actually looking for their opinion? Am I looking for their input, or any type of constructive criticism? Or am I just talking just to get it off my chest? I think that is a big key, going into it. Now, how do you deal with it if someone provides criticism to you or an opinion to you and you weren't looking for it?
mhm,
I think that easiest thing you can say is, thank you so much. I appreciate your opinion, and you leave it alone, because you know what you're going to do with that information. Either you're going to put it in file 13, or you're going to actually use it moving forward. You know what I mean? You
with
know
my
what you're
fan.
going to do. Exactly. So you don't necessarily have to say, "Oh, well, I wasn't asking for your opinion." Things like that. A good way to kind of keep things above board, and just to, on a level playing field, and kind of smooth and in a good way, is just to say, well, you know what? Maybe I never thought of that. Thanks so much for bringing that up. And you just leave it alone. You can change the subject, which is a good way to kind of tell the other person, I'm not looking for anything else. I'm kind of closing off the comment or whatever, but you kind of leave it alone at that point.
I like
And
that.
see, and
Yeah.
I would ask, like, okay, well, why would you do it that way? It, depending on the situation, I'm like, explain. If you're giving me your opinion, why are you giving me your opinion for that particular the way that you want? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Normally,
But
when you
that's
tell
if you're
somebody to
looking
do
for it.
something, right? If you're looking
That's if
for it,
you're
but
interested in.
right, right,
Hmm.
exactly.
I
Question like,
agree.
okay, why did you do that? Was it easy for you when you did it?
You, you know, this topic is, I think, is very, very prevalent for now, because so much is happening in all of our lives.
Mm.
I mean, everybody's dealing with something, and you know, I think this is something that we have to be very careful with. Um, we really have to take time out to pay attention before we say anything. Because, too, you know, something so sensitive as people
Mm-hmm.
making decisions in their lives, you can say a lot of things that can really mess up their future. You know what I'm saying? I know people. I've met people that are just opinionated. Period. Period. They have an opinion about. You ain't asked them their opinion, but they just got an opinion about. And you're like, oh my God, I didn't.
Stop talking about
No.
me, Dr. Robinson.
And they like, well, no, now criticism can be good, and it has its downfall.
Mhm.
Marguerite, how do you feel about that?
Well, I got a couple of things that I have here,
Okay.
and and we're talking about opinion criticism. It can go various different ways, and I have here a couple of different types of criticism. We go
Okay.
to the piece where criticism. There are verbal and nonverbal, right? You got
Mm-hmm.
corrective, you got judgment, and you
Mhm.
might pretty much say hurtful can pretty much go in hand with judgmental, right? When you look at
Right.
criticism. And so when I look at the criticism piece, when you go look at it as a verbal piece, when you're talking to a person or whatever, like you said before, one of you guys said before, sometimes the person just wants you to listen. They don't want you to verbalize it, okay? And then when you look at the nonverbal piece, you know how you can be in cahoots with somebody. You can have some of us have friends that we have friends that's friends with this person,
Mhm.
right? And some people can voice their opinion about you per se, and then they look at it a whole different way. When I look at the part where I says nonverbal, they going by something somebody else said, that third party piece. You look at that third party piece, they coming in and they criticizing the situation when they don't know have all the facts.
Okay. Hmm.
So, those are some of the criticism pieces that I, brought to the table on, and then the corrective piece, and the person has to be open. When you look at the fact, they have to be open, and they have to be able to accept the corrective piece. right? When you look at the criticism part, and everybody's not acceptance. But people don't realize when they come to you in conversation, right? They bringing something to you that you didn't even ask for. Okay, so in saying that is they gotta even though they don't verbalize and say that I want your opinion or on something, Dr. Broadnet, the point is they brought it to your attention. That was something you
Mm-hmm.
had no clue about or anything, but they bringing on a situation at hand to you. So okay, that right there gives you the opportunity to say and voice your opinion, whether they ask or not. I know you can look at it two or different ways, but you most people look at it as that way when somebody call you up on the phone and they talking about a situation. They want your opinion. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they call you just for your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They might not verbally say, okay, what you think about this or what you think about that. They just gonna go ahead and put it out there and expecting you to give your opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what, with that too, Marguerite, I think that is quite true. Even though I've had it play out both ways. Um, One thing that I often do when I talk to people is, and I have a supervisor at work, and she makes fun of me all the time because when I come to people to ask something, I say, "So let me ask you a question." And that is always it has become so I don't know, so commonplace for me to do that when I'm asking, even if I'm just going to ask you, how do you turn this computer on? I'm like, okay, so let me ask you a question. How do you turn this thing on? So, I preface with that. But like I said, I've run into those situations as well where, people bring things and they don't necessarily want they don't want your opinion. But I believe, like what you said, in most cases, if you're talking to me about something, you want me to respond.
Okay.
And I had never considered prior to some of these recent interactions that people really don't want you to respond. And so it kind of made me think back to some of other situations where I've talked to people and have you ever had those people you talk to and then they kind of fall off and disappear and you
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
wonder like, well, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I had and I wonder, like I had a client similar in with a similar situation. She kind of just fell off, and I was like, but dang, she was very regular. She was every
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks without fail. And then I had to think, did we have a conversation? I thought to myself, did I say something to her that could have been offensive? But
Right.
one thing that I thought about was every time somebody talks to me in my chair, I do
Mm-hmm.
provide a response. And so
Okay.
it made me wonder, was that a situation? Now I can't remember what it was, but was it a situation where she really wasn't asking for a response? Or maybe my response was offensive to her, even though I try to be very cautious with my words when I give people
Right.
responses and advice and things like that, because I want to make sure that what I'm conveying to you is actually what I mean. I'm
Okay.
saying exactly what I mean, that I'm not thinking too far ahead of my words and then using the wrong words, which can lead you to believe something else. I
Right.
want to be very intentional about what I'm saying. So I think, it definitely can go both ways. But I'm with you when people bring it to you. They want you to say something. Now,
But
maybe they get mad at what you say, and then they say, "Well, I wasn't asking you." That's fine, all well and good, but they want your opinion.
well, when you take it to the client and the stylist point on that side, you can kind of determine if the person is a talkative person and they bring on a conversation, but the conversation is short. So you
Mm-hmm.
can kind of determine that when you got your clients in your chair, who's a talkative person and who's not. And I always say to my clients is, you know, you already know me. You know I'm a talkative person. And
Mm-hmm.
so I got new people that may come in and I do talk because I love to share with my clients. I love to
Right.
educate my clients. So I share. And I was in an incident where I was in a Bible study setting, and we was, of course, my subject is always going to be dealing with hair or God or something like that. And so in the conversation and whatever it is that we was talking about, the one lady said she don't want nobody to let her know anything about her hair, if her hair is in a certain condition or whatever. She wasn't my client per se, but that's something that I love to share. I love to share with my client what I see. Okay. And so just that little piece there, when a person is talkative and they want to talk, and if they want to share, they want to just leave it as is, as they bring something to you and they just leave it like that. And then I want to go back to something else that you said on an incident happened. Okay. And I'm in at awe right now because I'm clueless of what happened. Okay. So you mentioned something about that, and I am, and I don't know what was said, how, if I said something, if I did anything, if I did anything, and I'm one of those people that if it's something that I said, please let me know, okay? And so I don't know if it was something hurtful, because that was one of my words that I put on my paperwork of being hurtful when it comes down to criticism. Sometimes the things that you say, it, like you said, it may hurt somebody's feeling in a way that you wonder what happened. Like, I'm like, what happened? And it happens. It happens, and it's so
And then
sad
it's
that
mind
it
boggling
does
too.
happen. It's so sad that it does happen, and the person can't be open and honest to you of how they feel. Okay, so I just had to put that out there. It's live. Everybody is listening. So, and if you ever get in a situation where you kind of clueless of, you feel like you're doing all that what you can and you helping, or you voicing your opinion when maybe you weren't supposed to voice your opinion, but
Yeah.
you sit back and you kind of puzzle of what happened. Did I say something? If I said
Right.
something that wasn't pleasing to the master, okay, Lord, please forgive me. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that piece. And if you all are listening out there, if you feel some type of way about what somebody might have said, or and they was doing, the corrective criticism piece, and you wasn't at all, because you expect their answer to be something totally different, in agreement with you, when the right is wrong, and that
Yeah.
happens a lot when you voicing your opinion with somebody. They expect you to be with them, and in nationality they may be wrong. Okay, and you
That's
So
just
I
good.
have a question.
That's
okay.
good.
Bring
So
it on.
now I'm gonna be a Dr. B this week.
Oh
I don't
my
have my
God.
fan, but I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench in it.
Okay,
Go
come
ahead,
on.
girl. Throw your
Let's
monkey.
go.
So now, being that we talk about criticism, now are they criticizing, evaluating, or judging?
Woo.
That's why I put judgmental. I said judgment. So
Yeah, that's
So
good.
how would you determine, if a person is just being really criticizing all the time, or just evaluating at that particular time, or even judging, or are they the
okay.
same?
Well, when you put it that
Look at
way,
Dr. B eyes rolling like,
no,
hold up now.
because
Yep.
he ready to get jump in there too. But when you put it like that, just like you making your movement and your gesture, okay,
Yeah.
that
Yes.
shows attitude. So therefore, you can look at it in one or two ways. The person's being judgmental, okay, or whatever way you want to look at it, but it shows, your body language shows a lot. So that can determine your answer right there. you know.
Mm.
So I just want to throw that out there.
That's really
Don't
good.
Dr. B.
I'm big when it comes to body language. That's really, for me, that is really key in how I read people. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I am more, even though I try to be very intentional with things that I say, I understand not everybody does that. So I read with body language, um, and it kind of helps me out to kind of feel out different things, right? But when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to whether or not you are being critical, judgmental, or you're just evaluating, I think when you're evaluating, you are looking at all aspects of what's going on. You know, you are looking at all the possibilities. You're asking questions. You are probing to get more clarity about what's going on. Right? To me, that's evaluating a situation. If you are being judgmental, I believe that is you're providing your opinion, but you're doing it in such a way that you are kind of positioning yourself above the person that you're speaking to. You know, so when you are judgmental, if I say, um, I don't know, say we're talking about, I don't know, give me a topic, anything.
Uh,
If we're talking about, say doing hair, and I say, uh, oh child, that hairstyle, that's a mess. Honey, that looked like something I did years ago. Things like that. I'm giving you, it is a criticism, right?
Right.
okay,
But I'm
okay.
doing it in such a way that I am trying to place myself you know, above the person that I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I am, that's judgmental.
Yes, it is.
I'm providing a criticism. I may say, Marguerite, that style is cute, but I may have done it like this. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily putting myself above you, but I'm just
Mm-hmm.
saying I would do it in a different way.
Right.
And so that's providing a criticism or telling you, or you know what, that's a cute style, Marguerite, but guess what? I would have done, I would have added this to it, or you should have added such and such to it. That's
Right.
criticism. To me, I don't want to say neither of the three are positive, but I would say
Right.
um what is it? Your questioning, your probing would be more of the positive of the three.
Okay.
Evaluating is more on a positive level because you really are trying to gain a better understanding of whatever is going on
Mm-hmm.
Right.
prior to giving your opinion or passing on any information. And
Right.
I think that's important. I'm glad that you brought that out because to me, evaluation is key. You know,
Absolutely.
even with us with doing hair, we have to evaluate what we're working
All the
on
time.
Mm-hmm.
before we get started. Right? It doesn't make sense
Mm-hmm.
just to jump in when you don't know what you're dealing with.
I like something that you said. You can determine, all of us can determine when people are being positive, and we can determine when they're being negative. We
Mhm.
do. And
Right.
body language, I like something Maurice wrote in here when we were talking about um, when we're supposed to listen and all of that. He said sometimes it's best to ask them, are you wanting me to be a listener? Or are you really looking for my
Opinion.
Input.
because he's some, and then you know what? And I think doing that, I like that too. Big, you brought that out earlier. When we're talking to people, when people come to us, even with their thoughts of anything, all you got to do look at their body language.
Mm-hmm.
Before
That's
you
it.
say anything, don't say nothing, but look
Mm-hmm.
because that body is going to tell you the
Like
story.
what?
It'll tell you where they coming from. And then too, being professionals, we can look at them and determine how we're going to respond to them
Right.
or
Mm-hmm.
if we're going to respond at all. Some things are not even worth responding to.
Mhm.
Now, I have learned that in decision making in my business, some people say, oh, no, I'm going to back it up. You know how I like to change my hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
I change my hair at night. I do my own hair So nobody can get upset with me saying, "Oh, she do too much." Well, I'm doing it myself. So, And people will say to me, "You don't know what you want." Opposed to saying it like this, "You change your hair a lot. You know, are you sure about what you want?" Okay, now if you come to me sort of soft, I can deal with you. But if you come to me like this, you don't know what you want. You
See, I feel
change
like
it.
it's my hair.
I'm a
That
stylist.
body language. It's my hair.
I'm a stylist. But on the flip side of that, to answer the question from last week, this is how I would deal with it. Some people, I'm not going to give you an answer because I realize it's something I like to do. But sometimes when people come to you, they'll make you question why you do it. But I'm a stylist, and this is what I do. I mean, I'm free to do what I want to my hair, shave it off, put it on, whatever. My sister-in-law talks about me all the time. I may have y'all know I'm locking my hair, right? Well, I don't like the short look. I'm gonna put that out there in cyber world, okay? I look at my body like I don't like it short, okay? So I choose to put hair on top of it to give me the extensions that I like.
Mm-hmm.
But how I respond back to them determines our relationship from that point on. But if you come to me all the time and you have something negative to say to me all the time, right there, I know you're giving me what you think about me. Okay. So that's, I think one of our persons that was typing last week wanted to know, really, because undoubtedly somebody's saying this to them all the time. Now, you don't have to listen to people. You don't have to allow people to just come and dump their thoughts about you on you. You can cut that off. Am I right about it, Pam? And you can do it
All
very
day.
honestly. And you say, "Well, look, I appreciate you giving me your thoughts about me. I appreciate you even notice I changed my hair a lot. But this is what I like, okay? And you don't have to raise your eyebrow. You don't have to scream like sometimes I want to do. You can do it in a loving way and move on. Here's a question for this panel. What do you do if these people keep coming in your face with their wonderful opinions?
No.
Hello, Teresa. With their
You know what?
wonderful opinions
No.
and their beauty. What do you do? I hear you, Teresa, right there, baby. That's right,
It's you
Teresa.
know what? And you know what? I've been
What?
um poked and poked and poked. You know, sometimes if you keep poking the bed makes a noise coming back. And I've gotten better to know
Okay.
that people will push a button, especially if they know how to get underneath your skin. So
Okay.
we have to learn how to, ignore. And it's not something easy to do. You can't just do it overnight. So I'm gonna wake up and be like, I don't care what nobody think or what somebody say, because when it's brought to you, as long as it's not brought to you is one thing. But then when it's somebody that's in your face, like not 6 feet and even 6 feet apart, it's just like after a while, it's just like, okay, well, for one, who do you think you are? Like, but the mature me, and sometimes, we all got into it. I don't care how much somebody changed. Like I said, you can poke and poke and poke until you get that last layer off and break loose. It's just like, okay, and it's because you have a build up of just so much that's going on. We in a
Wow.
pandemic, we got regular life things that's happening. We have death, we got kids, we have jobs,
Wow.
multiple streams of income coming in. We teach and we do it. So a lot of times it's just like sometimes you just don't want to hear that. And a lot
That's
of people that know you, and if you tell them like, okay, you know what, tonight's not a good night, I appreciate it. And you trying to be as nice as possible. And again, they steady talking. Like it's coming.
talking
It's
to
just like,
prayer.
okay, shut up. But and I hate to say it, but sometimes you might have to be a little firm and be
Yeah.
like, okay, hey, look,
Mhm.
apparently you're not comprehending what I'm saying. So maybe if I speak a little louder, you know, and just hopefully it don't get to that point. You know, hopefully that you can have a conversation, be like, hey, look, I'm tired. I'm really not in the mood to discuss
Mhm.
this. I greatly appreciate your opinion or whatever you're trying
Mhm.
to help and give me your advice on. But right now, I can't receive it. So
Right.
if you can
I don't want it.
please,
You don't want to
right
And
now
get
it's
out
not
my face.
speak. He
that
don't want
part.
to.
But then sometimes some people don't get that or understand that.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you might have to get it like, okay, look, pronunciate all the
Right.
syllables of
All
the
of
word. So that way they can be like, okay, well, dang, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I'm trying to tell you I'm not in the mood, but you constantly talking, and continue to talk, and I don't want to hear you. And
but
it happens a lot of times because my kids know when I go home, because normally I don't close my door. My door's normally open. My doors don't bother me. Let me go through whatever
Mhm.
I'm going through. Let me be, and I'm fine.
mhm.
Because if you ask me and I tell you, even though I'm telling you I'm okay, it's because I don't want to talk about it right now.
Right.
Mhm.
So listen to the key words that people say
That's
when you're
Right.
that's
talking to
good.
them.
That's
And that's the
good.
Yeah.
part about listening.
That's good.
That's where
Right.
the key is listening. When you listen to
Mhm.
somebody, you can pick up again their body language to where they don't want to be bothered, they tired. So
Mhm.
you have to pay attention to those signs. And a lot of times we don't. And then that's when it goes left. And it shouldn't
Mhm.
have to, because then when you think about it, it's like, okay, well, dang, she was a little. I've been trying to tell you to leave me alone. Now when I snap, a pockle, crackle, pop,
Mhm. Mhm.
then I'm the mean one, or something is not right. It got to be
Yeah.
something wrong. Oh, you really going through something? You need to go take a nap. No, I just don't want to be bothered. Leave me alone.
And there are times when you just don't want to be bothered. I like something that I'm trying to read something that I seen. Uh, I was looking for a comment. I'll find it. But in this, we have to learn the difference between an opinion and criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Both can be damaging
Mhm.
depending on how a person is delivering it. Am I right, B? Where your fan at, B? You didn't bring
I
it.
know.
You didn't bring
I,
it. Everybody trying to fan, but
right.
even when you're discussing or you're having a dialogue with a client, your children, it doesn't really matter. We have to be careful. I like something that I've heard tonight. It says, listen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one thing Pam said, listen to keywords. Dr. B, you said it. We can look at people and tell y'all
And their
know
body
when
language.
people mean well and they trying to be smart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I feel like if a person, you're right, Teresa. I feel like if a person is coming at me wrong, I have every right to tell them the right way, though. Okay. Now, some
Get out
people
my
I do
face.
have to be very abreast. You do. Some people you do have to be. You have to just tell them. My husband always said, "No, me. No is an answer too." And he used to tell me, "You got to exercise that more." And honey, I promise you, I've learned because if you keep coming to me with the same stuff, expecting me to do the things that you want me to do, that's not what I want to do. And I'm done with the conversation. You know, unlike Dr. B, I don't have a fan, but that's the time you pop it right there.
Yeah, honey. I'm gonna get me a fan when I want to be bothered. I'm gonna pop it every time and say, "Leave me alone."
Yeah, because we brought this topic because they're going to say, "Shut your mouth." I heard you, Teresa. Sometimes you do have to tell them. Sometimes you can't be that sweet person that you want to be. Sometimes people bring the worst out of you. Okay, and you have to just tell them, "Look, I don't feel the way you do." Okay, and your opinion at this time is not going to matter in anything that I'm going to do at this point. Now, that don't always turn people away. Some people are just very persistent, okay? But it You just have to determine whether you're going to let what they're saying shape you, inform you, or whatever. You have to determine where you're going to go from here. Okay? So I think this topic is so, Marguerite is always going to be the best of the best because these are things that we deal with every day. And people are not going to always like all the decisions you're going to make. They're not going to
Right.
agree with everything that you say or do. And it's okay. It's okay to disagree with me. But let's make sure we know the difference between the two. So when we're talking to people, don't
Hmm.
always give them your opinion
Right.
because it's how you feel about a thing. It's not how they feel. And like we've heard tonight, listen to what they're saying, and that should determine whether this conversation is going to go. Okay, Dr. B, I know you got some closing, some excellent closing, and then Marguerite, I want you to put the icing on the cake.
Actually, I do not. But I would
What?
definitely say, I would definitely
Man,
say,
Mama, I
we
forgot
all.
about
I think the lesson that we all can take away is, just mind what you say to people. Be sure you know what they're asking when they come to you, whether or not they're asking for your opinion, whether they're asking for a listening ear, and then how you approach them with whatever answer you provide. You want to approach. I like to say approach things in love, but or I'll say in addition, one of the things that we talk about my at my job is assuming positive intent, and
Okay.
that can be something else, another topic to talk about, because it can be very difficult. But if you put yourself in the mind of assuming positive intent, when people say things to you, you won't jump right to the negative, but it'll help
Mm-hmm.
keep you in the mind frame of being level headed, because you won't assume that they're coming at you in a negative way. So, on that note, I would say good evening, but I would definitely say Marguerite closes out. It was an amazing topic. Um, I think Marguerite always brings good topics.
She does. She really
Yes.
does.
So, take it away, Marguerite.
Well,
Well, um, pretty much you put all everything in a nutshell that I was gonna say. But yeah, it's good to sit back and listen. Life lessons as we grow. We tend to we were supposed to mature. Okay, so we can't take um, people's criticisms and take them in a way where we're angry and we're frustrated and we can't speak to one another, or we go our own separate ways without acknowledging the fact of the situation at hand, front forth, and just if after the fact that you speak about it and you bring it to the person's attention, because sometimes people don't know, they just don't know what was said. So if you don't bring it to people's attention, they would never know. They just will be in a awe on what happened. What happened to this person? I haven't seen this person. And then in some cases, you have to give people space,
yeah,
especially if you're not giving them the answer that they're expecting you to give them, in agreement with them. And everything is not about agreeing with them, it's looking at the facts and what's right is right and wrong is wrong.
that's good.
So I just want to bring that little bit of insight on opinion versus criticism. Um, I mean, we all human. We all make mistakes. Don't count people out so quickly. You
Yes,
know, we supposed to be about love. We're not going to always agree in life. So know that in your opinion, in your criticism, you know, that you may give, knowing that it might not be something that you was expecting to be said. So just looking at it in both ways, you guys. And, like Pam said, slow to speak and quick to listen. That's what I have.
oh, that's good. I want to say this. I do appreciate this panel who always bring great topics. I want to thank those that were chiming in and corresponding with us. And for the people that's watching the replay, type in. We still go back and read your stuff. So nothing, we try not to let anything go unnoticed. So if you have questions or is a topic that you would like to talk about on Let's Talk About It Tuesday, please feel free to type it in, get it to us. I promise you, we will come up with a platform where we can discuss it. Also, I want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors, y'all. We have the best sponsors because Platinum Beauty Supply Store has delivered again. Um, they're delivering, getting wigs ready for me to pick up to send to the cancer centers. I would like to, anybody on the platform or anybody in their state to get some of these wigs, honey, I will ship them to you. Okay. So we do give thanks for them for sending and making sure we have all the things that we need. Isabella Graphics, we thank Isabella Graphics for always making sure all our graphic needs are truly done, all the logos and everything that we need. Isabella Graphics is the place that we go to. We are so excited about Pretty Gloss Print.
Yes.
Let me get that girl name right.
Yes.
And she's coming out with new flavors and stuff. And she's making something for you, Dr. B, so you can make your lips, you know, keep them together
Positive.
because we know the winter is coming. Do not want you on this platform with chapped lips. Okay.
I refuse. I
So she's coming
refuse.
out with new flavors for us, and I will make sure everybody on the platform will get it. And Kingdom Dominion Worship Ministry, we are so thankful for the ministry that keeps us in prayer. Anything that we need to keep our social media going or whatever, they really make sure they come through for us. And a special thanks to Pastor Donnie Robinson, who makes sure all of our information is in the chat. So you have no reason not to be able to reach any of us, even the ones that's not on the platform tonight. Shanae in her absence and Carmelita. All our information is being posted. Okay. So I've given thanks to everybody that made this possible. But now I'm going to put some on the screen that I want y'all to make sure you subscribe to our channel because we do have a YouTube channel. And I know some of you guys really like YouTube. Know how I know? A lot of us go to YouTube University.
Mhm.
So go on there and check us out and look at some of our discussions that we've done and enjoy them. Okay. So with all that being said, we're going to close out with this nice banner that's going to say subscribe. Hit the button and like us. Have an awesome night and live.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Yes.
There it is. All right. Y'all have a good night.
Good night.
Live.
Bye.
Good night.